Happy Monday morning, Minties. Or whatever time it is today, or whatever day. This is the Uncanny Omar, and today I'm going to go over my haul for the month of April of 2020, so please stay tuned. And welcome back, all you Minties. Before I get started, I'd like to remind you, if you have not subscribed yet, to hit that subscribe button because we put out videos every day. I picked up the rest of the Urusei Yatsura series that I was missing, some of these volumes that have been coming out. A lot of these I've already read when it was originally published by Viz in the left to right format, but this is the new format that they publish in the right to left, the way that it was originally intended. And it continues further than the original printings of these books with new translation notes, and I love the thickness of these. Each of these books is right about around 350 to 400 pages. Retail for $19.99. This is the same lady that did Ranma, did Inuyasha, Rinne, Mermaid Saga, which is finally coming out in the Deluxe edition. I think it's not a hardcover. It's more like the Maison Ikoku books that are coming out. Speaking of Maison Ikoku, also coming out in that deluxe format. Like I said, I don't think they're hardcovers. I think they're just oversized soft covers. But this is the very first manga to put her in the spotlight for a lot of people. And that is Urusei Yatsura, or LUM, or Those Obnoxious Aliens. Next up, shout out to Mike Noah. He got me a deal on these Dennis the Menace little hardcovers. This is the original Hank Ketchum years. However, I think there were supposed to be 11 of these when they were solicited. We only got 6. So this is everything that's been released. These are all in hardcover. These also came out later on in softcover. These all come with a little dust jacket. And it's just a reprinting of the original Dennis the Menace comic strip. And I grew up watching and reading this. I grew up with the 80s cartoon, and then of course Nick at Night, the original classic 50s live show. But most of my memories come from Dennis looking like that in the original, or in the 80s cartoon. And I was waiting for them to announce more. So it looks like we just have the years 1951 all the way to 1962. And I think it was supposed to be 11 volumes if I'm not mistaken. Now, the last book, this one here, 1961 to 1962, this one came out in 2009. So it's been over 10 years since this series has published a book. So I can probably say that the line is probably dead. But I don't know. Stranger things have happened because, here, let's take one more look and then I'll talk about what's next. So that's what all of them look like together. This is everything that's been released. Like I said, there were supposed to be, I think, 11 of these in total, but they stopped at 6. When I said that stranger things have happened, I was talking about these books right here. This is Mage, also from Mike Noah. So thanks a lot, Mike. I have been wanting these books. These books were originally published in 1988 by Starblaze. So these are the limited edition slipcase of Mage. And I think you all, if you've watched the channel for a long time, have heard me talk about Mage. These are numbered out of 1500, like this one's 250. Mage is just one of my favorite comics I grew up with. And when I said that the last book published by Dennis the Menace was in 2009, Stranger Things Have Happened, I was talking about this book. So this is 2 of the 3 books that make up The Hero Discovered. It was a 15-issue series that I believe he self-published and then later on went elsewhere. This is Matt Wagner again. It is pretty much the story of King Arthur retold through almost like Matt Wagner wrote himself into the series as Kevin Matchstick, that character right there. But instead of Excalibur, he wields a bat, a baseball bat. Now, these books, like I said, originally came out about 1988, so I need the third one. So now I'm on the lookout for the third one. But let's look a little bit in the second book and talk more about it. But what I was saying is that The Hero Discovered had a cliffhanger in issue 15. So for years, Wagner was going to say, well, once I stop focusing on Grendel, then, because Grendel first appeared as the backup stories in the third part of this. I'll stop focusing on Grando, and then he went on to do other stuff. So for the longest time, I remember having a t-shirt that said Mage 2 is coming. And it finally did in the 90s. So there was like about almost 11, 12-year gap in between. And then there was another 10-year gap in between Mage 2 and 3. The Hero, let's see. This one is the Hero Discovered, then the Hero Defined. I haven't even read the third one yet. I think that's the Hero Denied or Rejected, something like that. It has to be Denied because they all end with D. So before Matt Wagner did the Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman Trinity, before he did Grendel, he was doing Mage. And then later on, I believe these are available in hardcover from Image Comics, by the way, if you want to get them that way. Or you could try to find them in this. I'm sure they're pretty expensive because, like I said, I now have to look for the third one. I think it's a white slipcase. And here we have Volume 2 of Mateo. These books are published by IDW, but they were originally released in France a few years back. I got the first volume, I want to say, like 2 years ago, and I loved it. So it is the story of Mateo, this gentleman back here, the main character of the book. And it tells his stories during these years. Like, the first one was like 1914 and 1915. This one is 1917 through 1918. And there's also some adult things in here, so I can't show all the artwork. But this became one of my most favorite books that I read out of Europe that was translated into English. So I don't know why I didn't get this one. Maybe because it didn't come out until late last year. So it showcases his life through all these events that happened, like the First World War, eventually gets to the Russian Revolution, and then, of course, the Spanish Civil War during all these years. So it's a trilogy of books. I don't think the third one is out yet, but I love the first one. So I can't wait to read this one. And probably, it's on my list of my favorite non-American comic books, which I'm going to do sometime because you all have asked me to do that. So spoilers, this will probably make it on there. I got a couple of art books. This is the art of Cuphead. You all know how much I love art books. If you've seen my hauls. And one day, somebody has suggested picking out my favorite art books that I have and showcasing them. So this is, what the video game is based on, a lot of this artwork. And if you haven't played the video game, it is gorgeous. All these 2D sprites just in your face, like these classic early cartoons of back in the day. Oh, this is an amazing game, and I love the fact that they finally gave us an art book. Because it has all the backgrounds, all the character designs, the behind the scenes on how they made things. Yeah, I love art books. And this book is pretty thick. It's like almost 250. No, it is. It's over 260 pages. So I don't want to flip too much through the end here, but I'm sure you've seen some of these pictures if you've played the game. And if you haven't played the game, or hell, you may not even care about video games, the art book itself is just gorgeous just to see this. But to see this in animation just come to life, it's awesome. Now, I will say, it is hard as balls, though. Especially if you play it in two-player mode, because they tweak the difficulty when you play it in two-player. Yeah, not gonna lie. It's a pretty damn hard game. Next up is a beautiful, beautiful book. It's Above the Clouds by Melissa Barbarika. Now, I want to say I missed out on the Kickstarter, but she was nice enough. She has some on sale on her Etsy page. So if you still want one of these, that's where I was able to find it. And big shout out to my girl Fariha. She's the one that told me about it. She knows I love books like these that are kind of geared towards kids. And this is an absolute beautiful book. I've read it. My oldest daughter hasn't read it yet. She's 10 years old, but I'm waiting to see what she thinks. And you can probably tell it's pretty fast read because there is very little to no dialogue, right? Not until you get to the later chapters. And man, it just looks like a piece of animation like you would see on Netflix. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It reminds me a lot of anime. So if you're a fan of those books that I got, like Castle in the Sky, that always reminds me of Laputa, Castle in the Sky. Oh, Castle in the Stars, sorry. See, I get those mixed up. If you're a fan of books like that, then you need to check this out. Like I said, it's available through her Etsy page, and I can probably put that in the description. So if you look in the description, I'll put the link to her page there. But just gorgeous, beautiful artwork. with all these colors. And the feel of the book, it's like that soft hardcover. I'm a big fan of that too, the way that the book feels. It has this gold emboss look to the dragon there, and of course on the title itself. This was supposed to have come in last month, but I'm glad it didn't, because, you know, we didn't get any new books this month. So let's take a look at this. This is The Wicked and Divine. It is literally 2 books in one that finishes out the series. So you have volume 4, and then you have the extra. So let's look at volume 4, but not too much, because this is the way that I read the series. It is Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey's finale here. Wicked and Divine. It's got gorgeous artwork by him. This is the same team that did Young Avengers Volume 2, not the original volume. Gods on Earth. It is a beautiful, well-drawn story. I love the first 3 volumes, and I cannot wait to finish out and see what happens to some of these characters. And even flipping through here, I hope I'm not spoiling anything. So let's look at that art book instead. Here's book 4, volume 2. I'm really surprised they did it this way. I don't know if this is extras. I don't know if this is extra stories. I'm not sure if it's the covers. I'm not really sure what the... Okay. So it looks like this is extra stories. So what I was saying is I'm surprised they did it this way instead of putting it out in a slipcase, like having a volume 4 with a slipcase so you can put all 4 of your volumes in there. But instead they did it... They wrote themselves in. They did it where you get 2 volumes held in by this. So I guess that's pretty unique, honestly, because it was only advertised as a... There's the covers. So it must be just extra stories. So because this was only advertised as a volume 4. You didn't know you were going to get 2 books until you physically saw it. I think he released it on Twitter. But yeah, this was one of my favorite Image series that I read. Oh, and then the behind the scenes. Cool. All right. Let's move on. Now, you've seen the book in the videos before, but that was Maddie's book. But holding Maddie's book in my hand made me go and get this. This is Mike Norton's Battle Pug, the Compugium. How did I not own this already? This is so in your face, ridiculous and over the top with giant creatures. Yeah, I had to get this. So my brother has a pug. He has a puggle, sorry, manual. So I ended up getting him one too for his birthday. Hope he doesn't watch my videos. I don't think he does, because that's the way family is. But anyway, this is all of Battle Pug together. I love this widescreen format that it's in. Not a lot of books are like this. And I know that's OCD for a lot of people that have books that they need to store on their shelf. And they're like, well, shit, where am I going to put this? Because this book doesn't fit like the rest of them. Believe me, I know I'm OCD too, and I've tried to find a place like that. Probably this is going to go up there with Private Eye and Barrier, or what was it, the Grand Abyss Hotel. It's that kind of format. But, you know, it stands out. And also it makes me remember that I have the book because it stands out like that. Just looking at a few more pages so you know what you're in for. And I think that's okay to leave in there. Now, let's see if there's any extras in the back. So it looks like there's variant covers and just pin-ups from different artists. Now, I haven't finished reading this series either, because I've only read like the first couple of chapters. But this is Battle Pug. Got a couple of epics as well. This is The Punisher, a lot of the Mike Baron stuff. Volume 7, so this is 1992 to 1993, collecting Punisher 63 to 75. The Punisher G-Force graphic novel, Punisher Die Hard and the Big Easy, and Punisher Black Widow Spinning Doomsday. So let's take a look in here to look at some of this artwork. So this is the early 90s. I think some of this stuff was probably written by, okay, besides Mike Baron, probably Chuck Dixon, Dan Abnett, yeah, and Andy Lanning. Those guys may be familiar to you. This is Doug Braithwaite. I believe that's how you pronounce this name. Maybe not. He's the one that did the Justice book, Absolute Justice. Well, I have it in absolute format, that Alex Ross painted over. He also did the artwork in Wolverine Origins. But yeah, like I was saying, the writers were Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, who went on to do Legion of Superheroes, and then came back to Marvel to do, of course, the amazing, need I say more, Avengers The Crossing. That's right, they were part of Avengers The Crossing. But no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Annihilation, Conquest, and the modern Cosmic Odyssey that featured the return of Nova and Star-Lord and put them in the spotlight. So much so that James Gunn made a movie about those characters from the DNA run of Guardians of the Galaxy. So mainly the book is filled with artwork by Doug Braithwaite. Oh man, I'm butchering that guy's name. I know I am. But it also has artwork here by Larry Stroman and Simon Beasley. So, you know, it's got a different range of artwork from the early 90s. Let's look in here. And this is the Black Widow book. This is the one with Larry Stroman. Boy, Larry Stroman drew his women thick. That's why I remember liking his art. Look at that Black Widow. The girl's been eating healthy. But anyway, let's go and look at the next book. The Defenders. Ashes. This is the J.M. DeMatteis run. And it is volume 7, so from 1982 to 1983, collecting the Defenders 110 to 125 plus the Avengers Annual 11. Most of the stuff in here is written by J.M. DeMatteis, drawn by Don Perlin. So this is towards the later part of the Defenders. It's interesting that we don't have a lot of the earlier stuff collected and in epic format, considering there are Marvel Masterworks of those early series. I believe later on there's artwork in here by Big John's brother, Sal Buscema, and then Al Milgrom. But I think Al Milgrom does the Avengers Annual. But yeah, mainly all this stuff is just Don Perlin. So like I was saying, it's towards the tail end of the Defenders run. It's a hell of a cover. Guess it all depends on who the inker was at the time. So you have Gargoyle, Valkyrie, Nighthawk, Beast on the team during this time. So you all know how much I love epic collections. As a guy that appreciates artwork, of course I love Omnis. You know, those are my first choice. But a lot of these books probably won't be collected in omnibus format. And if they are, it's going to be a damn long time. So I like reading, and epics is the best way to do that. Now, this next book means a lot to me because I got this for myself. This is the Kirby Art and Style Collection, another art book. And it is celebrating like the 25th anniversary when it originally came out in Japan. This was brought over to America by Viz, who does Urusei Yatsura and does has been translating manga for many years. But this means a lot to me because my little girl, my youngest girl, Alicia, has been getting huge into Kirby. So we must have looked at this book. We've looked at this book every day. Let's just say that. And she alone has looked at this book, cover to cover, at least since I got this like 2 weeks ago. I don't know, 30 times. She knows the characters' names. I didn't even know some of these characters had names. I didn't know the difference between Waddle Dee and Bandana Dee. But anyway, this covers everything from the beginning of Kirby, including the original ideas that they had for Kirby. I think that's back here somewhere. I don't know. There's somewhere. To character designs in later games. But, you know, Kirby, it's one of my favorite games growing up. Kirby's Pinball. Nobody really talks about that. But it's awesome to see my daughter just get huge into something that I was a big fan of. My oldest is getting into comics, and my youngest is getting into video games. So that's really, I'm a proud father. A lot of the time on this channel, I get comments like, "Oh, Omar, because of you, I bought this," or "Thank you so much for bringing this into the spotlight. I didn't know about this series." Well, this is the other way around, because it works the other way around too. You all have suggested that I get books, right? This Omnibus was one that I'm like, I'm passing up on it. I have the Daredevil oversized hardcovers 1 through 5. I don't need this. And I can't remember who said, "But Omar, it's an omnibus. You've already got the Bendis stuff. You've got the Frank Miller. You've got the Ed Brubaker. You might as well get the Mark Waid." And that freaking reasoning made sense in my head. And my weak ass bought volumes 1, I think it was my last haul. And here it is, volume 2, finishing out Mark Waid's run on a very different take on Daredevil. A very different but amazing take on the character, right? Any other story about Daredevil, dark, moody, but my gosh, this story was so different. I loved it. If you have not read it, do yourself a favor and read it. You know, it's one of the best runs on Daredevil, at least in my eyes. By the way, Chip Zdarsky is killing it right now. I would love to have everything in omnibus form. Daredevil's had a hell of a creative team since Joe Quesada and Kevin Smith. Like, since then, you've had David Mack, Bendis, Brubaker, Diggle, Soul. We need Soul's run, and that's what we need. We need an omnibus of Soul, Charles Soule. But this closes out my haul for the month of April. Now, if you're interested in any of these books, please don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off the cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. And check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. And for you Minties, Cheap Graphic Novels is running a special promotion. If you're a first-time customer, let them know you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was my haul for the month of April. Let me know in the comments down below what you picked up in April, what you plan on picking up in May. Did you play catch up on some things that you were wanting because new books weren't shipping out? I would love to know all those comments down below. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button if you have not subscribed yet, the notifications button to let you know when our videos are going live, and more importantly, please everybody stay healthy, stay safe out there, and much love to you all.